Hi everybody, this is Alex Drag. I'm super excited to be creating and sharing this video of the recently launched Gravity Federated API Management solution. What you actually see on the screen right now are two APIs, the Echo Adrian and Federation API EM, APIs that were actually deployed to the AWS API Gateway that Gravity has auto-discovered, imported, and then we can use Gravity as a central, universal management, governance, and publication layer. So what does it actually mean? Of course, we can import, run, and keep inventory for the APIs, both Gravity APIs and, as you see on the screen, APIs that are deployed to the AWS API Gateway. We can also import and manage plans, so subscription control mechanisms, and then publish these APIs to a universal developer portal that spans, yes, your existing Gravity APIs, but also APIs from other API gateways and event brokers. This one being AWS, but there is also broader support than just AWS. But today, for the sake of this demo, we're just going to show AWS API Gateway support. So you'll see these APIs have already been discovered, but I want to show you what this looks like from the very beginning. Okay, of course, this is assuming that you have the integration set up. It took me like 2 minutes to do this morning, so it's super easy. We'll have docs on that on our documentation website. But let me go ahead and delete these APIs out of Gravity so you can actually see just how fast and robust the discovery process is. So I'll go back over here to the overview. See our agent is connected, no problem there. Let me just show you what we're going to be discovering in AWS. You'll see here on the AWS API Gateway side, I am looking at the APIs that I have deployed to the gateway in the Paris EU S3 region. You see Echo Adrian and Federation API M. I'm going to hit Discover. You'll see just how fast this is. We'll hit Proceed, not editing anything out, and boom, there it is. Okay, so from here, what can you do? I'm actually going to click into these APIs so you can see the options that Gravity offers for central governance and publication. So first, we will click on this. Okay, so this is our Federation API EM API that we have once again just imported. Okay, so the first thing, let's look at the documentation. So you'll see this is actually OpenAPI spec documentation that we imported from AWS. Now, if you wanted to add new pages in Gravity, you could totally do that. You would just hit add new page, and then boom, of course, you can write your documentation and mark down OpenAPI spec or async API spec. This is great for when you push this to the developer portal. But first, before we do that, let's go look at plans. So this is essentially how your API is going to be controlled as it pertains to consumer-side subscription. In Gravity, a plan is it's just an access control layer. Typically, you attach it to some authorization mechanism. In this instance, it's API key. So we actually had an API key usage plan on the AWS side that we discovered, imported, and mapped that onto a Gravity API key plan that, once again, you can publish to your consumers. But we'll show that in just a minute here. As you can see, on the Gravity side, you can still deprecate your plan. You can close the plan. You can also edit the plan. So you can come in here and give it a new description. You can decide if you want to auto-validate subscriptions. So basically, this just means that if a consumer sees this in the dev portal and they subscribe, that subscription is automatically going to be validated, and that API key is going to be passed to them. So of course, their application can pass that to the AWS API Gateway, because that's actually the piece of infrastructure that will be enforcing the API key authorization. So that's a critical thing here. Gravity is managing the subscription request and doing the subscription control, whereas in this instance, the AWS API Gateway, at the moment of the API request or call from the client side, AWS is actually doing the lifting of enforcing that API key authorization, right? So what have you enabled your developers and engineering teams to do here? They can build, expose APIs to whatever gateway they want, but your central platform teams, they can still use Gravity to essentially manage and govern how APIs are published and subscribed to. So speaking of publish and subscribe to, let's take a look at that. All right, so you see your plans, we've seen documentation. Let's push this to the developer portal. So I am going to actually give this a new name. This is the Alex demo. That's my name. I'm going to save this. Cool. And then what I'm going to do here is publish this API. First, I'm going to copy the name. Let's go ahead and give this a version number of 1.0. So we'll save this. We've copied the name. We're going to publish this to the Gravity developer portal. So once again, our developer portal here, it's like an API catalog where you can go view documentation, see information about the API, actually interact with, as the consumer, the API publisher. I'll show you that in a second. And of course, self-service subscribe to your APIs. So let's open up the developer portal. Okay, so what I'm going to do is search for this API. Just type in the name. We're going to explore. Oh, sorry, let me go back. You can actually see that it just popped up. So here we are. There's the API for you. I'll click it. And then boom, you can see everything that you just saw on the publisher side in the actual Gravity management console. You can see the general information. You can go and you can view that documentation or the spec file that was imported. So you can see here the OAS specification, see the servers where that API is running. And if you want to actually subscribe to that API, all you have to do here is hit subscribe, and you'll see that API key plan that was imported from AWS, right? So basically I'm not going to subscribe to it right now, but you just click through next. You would choose your application. So I'll go ahead and do this, next, and then validate the request. And let me show you what you see on the publisher side. So I guess I am actually going to submit a subscription request. What I won't do is actually call this API yet, because I don't have anything up to do that. But if I go back in here, so once again, this is where the publisher, the API publisher would work, right? Here, where the API consumer is finding and subscribing to those APIs. But if I come back here, I go to consumers and I go to subscriptions, what you're going to see, and this is the big key thing here, right? When I talk about central universal subscription control, me as the API publisher, I can see these subscription requests, right? I could come in here, I see it's pending, because it's the one that and I remember I didn't auto-validate the subscription in the plan. I'm going to edit it, and as the publisher, I'm going to validate this subscription and say, sure, Federated APUM is awesome. Hit validate, and boom. Oh, you can see, sorry, I just didn't refresh. This is now running. So if I go back here, you'll see it's accepted. And if I go back to here, to the dev portal, so now I look at that application that I use to subscribe to that API. And what you're going to see is that this Federation API, this federated API from Gravity, once again, this is the AWS API Gateway API. I am now subscribed to it as the consumer in this one universal portal. You can actually see all of these APIs. These are APIs that exposes Kafka's WebSockets and some other API styles and protocols. These are all Gravity APIs, right, that I've subscribed to. So as the consumer, I have one place to find all the APIs that I need. As the API publisher, I have one place, if you remember here, to define, configure, design exactly how you want your APIs discovered, subscribed to, and ultimately consumed via Gravity Universal Plan and Subscription Management via the Management Console and this universal governance layer that Federated API Management now enables. So that's about 8 or so minutes. It's a long time. We're going to be running a live stream on this soon. So go ahead to our LinkedIn profile. We're going to be doing an end-to-end setup of this Federated API Management solution. We're going to talk about the cool use cases and value that this provides. And of course, if you're interested in learning more about the solution, actually trying it out yourself, we highly recommend reaching out to, if you're a customer, your CSM, or if you're not a customer yet, reaching out to our engineering team. Just go book some time, book a demo on our website. We'll get an engineer on the call, get you set up with either a demo or even a free POC of Gravity. We really hope to hear from you. Let us know what you think about Federation in this video. And yeah, we hope to hear from you soon. We look forward to seeing what you build with Gravity Federated API Management. Bye, everybody.